Dr. Spangler?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Yeah.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Parks?
Here.
Ms. Ellis?
Here.
Mr. Worthy?
Here.
Ms. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Huff?
Here.
Ms. Thornton?
Here.
Thank you. I'd like for you to stand, you'll do a silent meditation, and follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No amendments to the agenda, President Worthy.
Don't have any amendments. I'll have a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second from Ms. Williams. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. Recognition of achievements and awards. Anissa? There you are.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. President, and members of the board. I am pleased to recognize the accomplishments of many outstanding individuals this evening. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate from Dr. Spangler, and shake all of the board members' hands. First up, we would like to recognize Paula Farmer for her leadership in the Clarke County School District receiving the Golden Radish Award. And Paula can stay seated. I have plenty to read before you need to come up. We have received this award, the Golden Radish Award, for the second year in a row under Paula's leadership, and this year it was for the gold level. And the award level is based on 10 criteria ranging from the frequency of locally grown produce featured on school menus, to the number of farm-to-school promotions, to the incorporation of farm-to-school related professional development trainings for school staff. The district had to meet 7 of the 10 criteria to achieve this level. And I wanted to share some of the comments that the review committee had regarding the district's application. I think Clarke County has done an amazing job creating interest in their edible garden through the lunchtime garden bar, where they serve items grown in the school garden. I am impressed at how many taste tests the district held, the great ways local food was promoted on the menu, and that every school in Clarke County has an edible garden. The district has done a beautiful job incorporating farm-to-school language and content into its wellness policy. I look forward to seeing how this wonderful program grows even more in the future, especially through incorporating farm to school in the curriculum and leading hands-on cooking activities. And Paula wanted me to be sure to note that the success of this initiative would not have been possible without the support from the following organizations: Athens Land Trust, West Broad Market Garden, Holland Produce, Keep Athens Clarke County Beautiful, UGA Horticulture, and the UGA Garden. But mostly, we all know this wouldn't have been possible without the leadership of you, Paula. So please come up and accept the award. Am I the only person who just realized how fitting it is that Paula's last name is Farmer? Yeah. Next, we would like to recognize Fowler Drive Elementary School for receiving Governor's Shape grant recognition. And you may remember last month we had a variety of wellness initiatives recognized as well, so this continues to be a really strong point for our district. And so Fowler Drive Elementary School has been awarded a $10,000 grant from the Georgia Department of Public Health on behalf of the Governor's Shape initiative. This initiative promotes creating a healthy school environment and culture of wellness for staff, students, and the community. And some of the specific things that Fowler Drive will be able to implement is that they will have pedometers for students to help them increase their steps. They will have classes for faculty on wellness and even offer professional learning for parents. And so tonight we want to recognize 4 individuals who made this happen. James Barlament, our grants coordinator. Of course, Anissa Johnson, the principal at Fowler Drive Elementary School. Amy Peacock, our district science coordinator. And Polly Shenton, the PE teacher at Fowler Drive. Please come on up. Thank you.
Awesome. My kids are going to wish that they go to Fowler. They're going to be so jealous. They're going to want that. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm there. Okay.
That is awesome. That's so exciting. Thank you.
And finally, we will recognize our 4-star employee award winners. And as usual, nominations can be made by anyone in our community. Teachers, colleagues, students, parents, community members, partners. Anyone can nominate someone. We had several this month, and we will recognize our top 4. First, Carolyn Andrews, who is a 7th grade science teacher at Coyle Middle School, and she was nominated for this award by her coworker, Kimberly Boswell. Come on up, Carolyn, and I will... And if you want to stand here, people always say they want to hear what was said about them. So this is what Kimberly had to say about you. Mrs. Andrews is an integral part of Coyle's foundation. She is a strong force in the classroom as a teacher. She delivers intriguing lessons as well as tough love. She is a mama first and foremost in all her actions and words, and there is not one child who doesn't have faith in her guidance, wisdom, and advice. Teachers as well trust and admire her. A bad thought is never heard about her from students nor adults. She is who anyone wants to come into or run into on a bad day. She is the mama some of these students don't have. She is the friend to many of us that we need during the week. She is an advocator of an environment that supports learning and acceptance. She is a model teacher, and the proof is not only seen in her scores, but is heard through the rapport she wholeheartedly establishes with her students. I think we all know why your application was so highly ranked. Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations and thank you.
And next is Lindsay Gregory, 3rd grade teacher at Whit Davis Elementary School, and she was nominated for this award by her coworker, Ella McAllister. And here's what Ella had to say about you. Mrs. Gregory spends time each year getting to know her students as individuals. She gets to know their likes and dislikes, their learning styles and personalities. She uses her understanding of her students to guide her instruction. She often goes above and beyond to differentiate learning for all her students' needs. She constantly creates lessons to engage and challenge them in a fun way. She shows compassion and understanding for each student. She has taught the collaborative special education 3rd class for the past 2 years at Whit Davis. In that position, she has shown an immense gift of patience and calm, even with the most challenging. She's an inspiration to many other teachers because of her dedication and caring each and every day. Congratulations. And next is Natalie Hicks, teacher at Barrow Elementary School, and she was nominated by her coworker Jan Mullins. And here's what Ms. Mullins had to say about you. Ms. Hicks is an inspiring teacher. She not only inspires her students, but her fellow teachers as well. She is officially a spectrum teacher, and it is true. She teaches a wide and beautiful spectrum of ideas, concepts, and skills to her students. Ms. Hicks is much more than that. She reaches out as a collaborative teacher to all students to bring them enrichment and spread wonder about nature, science, and discovery. She worked last year with a student who was not a spectrum student for a wonderful poster for the annual MLK Creative Writing and Art Contest. They won at the school level, but not at the district level, but we still found a way to get them to the MLK breakfast at UGA. She has also led our Green School initiatives over the past 10 years and connected all of our environmental education with standards in the curriculum. As chief of the Barrow Environmental Education Committee, she constantly nurtures awareness and appreciation of our environment while encouraging all of us to work together to become stewards of our earth. She has reached out for innovative partnerships with the University of Georgia to research Lily Branch and for children to be keen observers of their surroundings. Our staff and students have supported important grant initiatives to help with outdoor education and environmental design and gardening because of her leadership. Because of her encouragement and support, we now have over $800 in our gardening fund to promote outdoor education and gardening. Ms. Hicks brings in art and creative writing along with content exploration to our teachers and students. She seeks the strength in all students and finds a way to foster them, whether they are in spectrum or not. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Fantastic work. Thank you so much.
And finally, Phyllis Sanders, Administrative Assistant at Classic City High School, who was nominated by her colleague, Ms. McNair. Is it Ms. McNair? Okay. And this is what she had to say about you. Mrs. Sanders is a gem and an invaluable asset to each of us, faculty, staff, students, community members, and business partners who care deeply about Classic City High School. She is the calm sea to our sometimes turbulent ship. Mrs. Sanders truly helps everyone equitably and with an immense amount of professionalism. She developed this sense of professionalism by serving in the Clarke County School District for over 24 years in various integral roles. She has been in the Human Resources Department as well as in the Alternative Education Program before Classic City. She and Dr. Cole have formed a seamless transition, and she is now his right-hand woman. This sense of unity has fostered a positive environment for all of us at Classic City, and for that we are thankful. Ms. Sanders has served as administrative assistant at Classic City since 2003. She is the only employee left in the school since it opened the door back in 2003. It's hard to balance the needs of all so diligently and calmly. Along with the fact that she has been a loyal and committed employee for 24 years, she is so deserving to be recognized at this district level. And indeed, you are, Ms. Sanders. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Again, on behalf of the Clarke County School District, congratulations to all of our evening's honorees. You represent your district and community very well, and you continue to make us proud to be CCSD.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yeah, again, I just want to echo that. It is proud to be CCSD, and just it goes beyond just the work that you do every day, but it's just the dedication and the commitment to the district, to the adults and the children of this county is just simply amazing. And I'm really pleased that while you can see a theme that's occurring, and that's around educating healthy children, and I'm really pleased at the initiatives that we have begun, that we've certainly been thinking about and hoping for, and they're coming to some level of flourishing. They're just going to grow. And that is that our kids are healthy emotionally, are healthy physically, and are healthy intellectually. So it's a good day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Lanou, item D, Superintendent's report.
Skip C. We got two visitors first.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Didn't call for it. We have 4 speakers this evening, and before I call on the first speaker, I need to read a statement. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. A yellow caution card will appear when 1 minute remains, and a red card will appear when the time expires. At this point, please conclude remarks. No speaker shall indulge in personal attacks while speaking. All comments are to be addressed directly to the Board of Education. To protect the privacy of our students, speakers should refrain from identifying, specifying specific students by name. Personal concerns may be addressed in writing to the superintendent or the president of the board. Our first speaker this evening is Denise Smith. Proposed changes to the 43B/457 plans.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Smith, and I am speaking once again regarding the proposed changes to the school district's 403B 457 plans. Several employees have questioned the district's reasoning for the changes, and they've received responses to their inquiries. I would like to address the goals they were told were desired from the process. First goal, lower price, lower cost. They were told because there is no process in place, a variety of vendors contact CCSD employees. The district has not negotiated on their behalf, so employees have to accept cost as is. We want to dictate the amount that vendors can charge for administrative costs. Our response, there are companies that do not charge any administrative fees. The district shop for the lowest fees charged by the consultant, Invest in You, of 25 basis points. What additional fees will then be charged by the company selected from the RFP? I've seen a statement from a company selected for a district by Invest in You, their consultant. They have a consultant fee as a percentage of assets, then an administrative fee that is a flat dollar amount, and another administrative fee as a percentage of assets. 3 fees on one account. Second goal, remove surrender charges. Currently, some vendors institute a surrender charge if you decide to remove funds. We want to ensure this is not a part of a package for our employees. Our response, surrender penalties are nothing more than a penalty for early withdrawal. It is there to not only protect the annuitant, but to protect the insurance company. The more the insurance company is willing to promise interest rate income, the longer you're going to leave the money with them. It's a retirement account. Annual withdrawals of 10% are allowed. The client can control whether the surrender fee is charged, unlike the automatic and ongoing administrative fees that are to be dictated. Third goal, quality control. Currently, CCSD cannot confirm that the retirement product you are using is performing well in the market or against peers. With the RFP, CCSD will have the needed information to provide a quarterly review of all retirement products. If they're not performing up to standards, we'll remove and replace them with a better product. Our response. Why should the school district dictate the way employees invest? What makes CCSD or Invest in You qualified to determine the better product? No company can guarantee a product is better. Investment philosophies and strategies vary by individual employees. They should not be dictated. Diversity, that's the fourth goal, diversity. CCSD will ask for diversity of retirement products to meet different retirement strategies. Our response, they have diversity now. Online management as a fifth goal. The services of the vendor will be provided with access. Our response, some people will be comfortable using online services, but many, many more will not. This should be an option, not dictated by the district. Sixth goal, variety of input. The review process of the RFP will include employees from a variety of school district functions and sites. Our response, many 403B 457 companies may be eliminated from responding before employee input because they don't offer both products and plan administration. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Our second speaker, Elise Trotter, early enrollment acceleration. Mr. Trotter, you here?
Before her?
Beg pardon?
Should I go before her? She's my wife.
And you a Christian?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening. So hopefully you guys remember who I am and that I was making the case for early enrollment policy a few months ago. And we made that case primarily for our son, and that's all been done now. So I kind of wanted to give an update and talk a little bit more about that. A few months ago, I told you to be back month after month to kind of keep arguing the same points. And since that meeting, Dr. Lanou and Karen Higginbotham kind of engineered a plan for my son that would hopefully get him in the right place or where we were hoping that he would go. And what it was just a whole grade acceleration process, but in a much more condensed time frame is essentially what it was. And in the first 5 weeks of the school year, he was able to move through that process, and he's now in a first grade classroom, which is exactly where he needs to be, and we're very happy about that. So now I'm kind of here to speak on behalf of all those other kids out there who might need the same thing that he did. I don't have a personal dog in this fight anymore. My son got exactly what he needed, and I thank the board and Dr. Lanou for making sure that happened. And my plan to speak to you in the future was all about convincing you of a need that something should be done for kids like this. But clearly the need has been recognized. It was recognized for my son. And I doubt that he's the only one out there who kind of needs something like this. I'm betting more than likely he's the only one that has parents who are stubborn as me and his mom are. And as far as we know, he's the first kindergartner in Clarke County history who has been advanced out of first grade or out of a kindergarten classroom into a first grade classroom. It hasn't happened before. And I think the reason that it hasn't happened before, again, is not because they're kids who haven't needed it, but just because policy hasn't allowed it, at least the way that policy has been understood. So what I'm asking you to do is look at the policies that are there and see if they might prevent someone like my son from getting to the point that he has now gotten to, unless that kid has a parent like me who's going to come in here and talk to y'all and talk to everybody about it until something happens. Because I know we've heard from a few other parents who think their kids are kind of in the same situation. And what they're doing is, if they can afford it, they're sending their kids, they're buying the education that their kids need. And if they can't, they're just accepting the grade level that their kid is aged into. And in a lot of those cases, as we saw in the first few weeks of this school year with our son, it doesn't work well. The kids don't respond well to it. They end up kind of shutting down. We've seen a huge difference in the last few weeks as he's been in his first grade classroom with his behavior, his attitude, and just his enthusiasm for education. Again, and I think my wife wants to speak a little bit about that. And I'll leave 24 seconds on the clock. All right.
Okay, Ms. Trotter.
I don't think I'm going to leave any time on the clock. Okay. Well, as Christian explained, we first inquired about early enrollment in winter of this year, and we sent countless emails and spoke at board meetings several times to advocate for children, for my son and children like him. Children who were born just a little too late to get the curriculum that they need to be in the correct grade level. So I want to reiterate that we're thankful that he is where he needs to be, and I do thank the district for helping us get him there quickly. He was placed in first grade after the first five weeks of school, and we are thankful for that. But I also want to bring to your attention some of the complications that arose for him just in 5 weeks of sitting in the wrong curriculum. The examples that I'm sharing are not unique to him. In fact, they are all mentioned in the Templeton Report on Acceleration. They're all listed as reasons for districts to say yes to early enrollment and write early enrollment policies. First, there was a visible regression in my child's motivation and his academic performance. Over the summer, he could write 5 sentences with varied sentence structure in a story. When he went into kindergarten, he was being held in high esteem for writing 3 patterned sentences. And if you're an educator, you know that that's a regression, a big regression. So as a mother, it was heartbreaking to see him coming home and feeling like he was doing something wonderful when I knew it was a regression from where he'd been in the spring of last school year and in the summer. Second, he was beginning to learn that school was easy. The only challenge for him was learning the routines and procedures that he would no longer need once he was placed in a first grade classroom. Also, there were friends and a very caring, wonderful kindergarten teacher that he had to leave behind. This was emotionally taxing for him, and it was very emotionally taxing for me as his mother. There was a time when I even wanted to throw up my hands and say, it's not worth it. Let's just leave him in an environment where he's unchallenged, and I will try to challenge him at home. And of course, my husband brought me back to my senses. My greatest concern in going through this process is how hard we had to fight to get my son tested. For him to even have a chance at whole grade acceleration because he was young, we spent countless hours researching, writing emails, and preparing speeches. And the thing about it is most parents are not going to do that, as my husband mentioned. When our friends and acquaintances learned that he was accelerated from kindergarten to first grade, they always say, I didn't know Clarke County would do that for kids. And my question to you, is that the reputation we want to have? And I think we want to have a reputation where people in the community know that we meet the needs of high-achieving learners even when they're young. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Strider. Our next speaker is Ms. Tawana Maddox, churches that received computer technology.
Good afternoon, evening. It's been a long day. Dr. Lanou and Mr. Worthy. I'm Dr. Tawana Maddox. I am the Director of Outreach for Destin Incorporated, and also I serve as the Chair for our advisory board, which is Educational Access Unlimited. I want to thank you all for allowing the churches to receive computers November of last year. I want to go backwards first, and I want to say a big thank you to Ms. Linda Davis. I had spoken with her about my concern that, we don't have enough access as we talked about rolling out technology, to our children. And I don't know how she made it happen, but she called me back and put me in touch with Ms. Terry Thomas of Whatever It Takes. And from there, I kind of ran with it, got in touch with churches, got a database together after that. We just really moved forward with this. And I'm very excited to, continue into the next phase. And I have heard that there are some rumors that the churches are not using the computers, which is why I'm here tonight to dispel that rumor, because the churches are. I want to first state, in the beginning when the churches received the computers, they were not given any type of parameters. It was like, you can get the computers, and then after the fact, it was like, they knew they would be for educational purposes. But after the fact, things kind of changed. I went back to the drawing board, and we, met, and the churches are using the computers. We will have a newsletter that will be published quarterly called Access. It will be the first one will be coming out next month, where I will be highlighting several churches, including New Grove, who has give their children 529 plans, and they actually use their technology to make sure that all of their parents were enrolled into the parent portal, as well as use the Georgia College 411. Also, First AME Church, they had a summer program for Bethel Home students. They also have a separate summer program, but they had it, and they have a beautiful lab. And in addition to that, they used those computers and used a lot of the technology. I visited them a couple of times. And so I would like to state that we are using the computers, but I would like to see now that we move to the next step. And I would like to be a partner with that next step, which is training. Because as I tutor children myself, I have been struggling with finding information that I need through this new Google platform. There are not resources there like I would want. And so I think of me as an educated person, if I'm not able to do that, that surely parents and other tutors and people who are working with youth in our community, they would be just as lost. And so I don't want to create yet another digital divide between the young people and our parents and the community leaders. So I ask that the Clarke County School District consider working more with the grassroots organizations. I remember being here in 1999 with a reading program. I didn't get the support, but guess what? We still have that program today, with many of our students graduating, moving up in their grade levels by 2 and 3 grades, and excelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Maddox. I want to say thanks to all of the speakers this evening. Very well received. Now we go to item D, the superintendent's report. Dr. Lanou.
Great. Well, thank you. And just a couple of things. But first, I'm real excited, and we have Dr. Smith here from Athens Tech, and you had some information in the packet. And Dr. Tavernier and I met with Dr. Smith this week, and as he rolled out the plans for Athens Tech in terms of new programming. And actually, to be candid, I was so excited, so we got to talk to the board, and we're going to do it tonight. But I've asked Dr. Smith to talk about the new pathways, the new direction for our students as they enter the Career Academy, and of course, through our partnership with Athens Tech. So, Dr. Smith.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I think we've got some exciting things next year for the high school students in the Clarke County School District. First of all, I want to run through what we're offering this year and will be offered again next year. The first is an Early College Essentials program. It's basically the general education coursework for the first year for students. It does transfer to all 23 technical colleges in the state, as well as to all University System of Georgia institutions. One of the things we're doing this year is combining the opportunity for students to use AP credit and college coursework credit to complete this credential before they graduate from college. So that is a change this year because we are using the AP.
Could I just because that's a real critical piece that we were, deciding about a lot of things, but I think there's always been the question about should we take AP, right, or should we get our college credit? What works the best, or should I go one way or another? And we've really left it open. It's really a choice. But the early college essentials, which was originally drafted by taking all college courses, thanks to creativity with Athens Tech, we're going to be able to offer that whole pathway with a combination of APs and Athens Tech. So I think it's minimum of 2 courses, but up to 3 courses at APs, or 3 college courses and 2 APs, or 4 and 1. But that's a great way to, I think, that recognizes both of those programs as being viable, combines them in a way where our students can complete this particular pathway.
And we will look at extending the number of hours and courses that are including in this, but right now we're sitting at 19 semester hours. The other right now we're offering Prep Cook over at the Career Academy, and the reason I want to highlight this, there are some opportunities. We had a student that went to work for Epting events. He graduated last year from the high school, and he's at Johnson & Wells in the Carolinas, and now he's coming back and working. And we're going to be featuring him. We're undertaking a heavy advertising campaign and a marketing campaign this year to promote the link between the school district and the college for dual enrollment opportunities. And we're adding this from the voices of successful students and from the business community, because we want the business community to talk about how important the Career Academy is to the future growth of Athens, Clarke County. Another one is event coordinator that also has an internship opportunity in it. Both the Classic Center and Epting events are wanting to sponsor students next year through the internship opportunities, and the early childhood basics. Our new courses this year, well, one more is mechatronics, which this is a big program that Caterpillar is really pushing this year. There was 5 students from the school district that went to work as interns at Caterpillar this past fall. 2 of the students graduated, or was it 3 students? 3 students graduated, and they were all hired on with Caterpillar. And Caterpillar says after they're there a year, they will pay for them to get their college education. And the other 2 students are continuing in their senior year, and they'll get to go back to work at Caterpillar again. And Caterpillar's basically said we will hire them as soon as they graduate. So that's a great opportunity, and they will be working with 5 more students this next summer. And the students have to go through a very competitive process to get selected. They have to complete the Caterpillar interview process, and it's a different process than most companies go through. So it's a big deal for these students. They're getting paid, and they're getting paid nicely. I think it was $13 an hour this summer, and for a junior in high school, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. New programs. Well, no, I keep saying new programs because I want to get to them. Criminal Justice Specialist.
They're interspersed.
Yeah. So Criminal Justice Specialist is another one that we're offering. In fact, Ira Edwards is teaching this class and program for us. Finally, new programs. Mobile Security Technical Specialist is a part of a program that we're developing called Emerging Technologies. Emerging Technologies focuses on post-PC technology, your mobile devices, programming for the mobile devices, using personal computers and everything. On this one, we'll be using drones and camera so that they can go over and measure crowd control, crowd density and everything using the drones. The governor's high demand growth industries, one of the things, AT&T spoke at an event in Augusta last 3 months ago, and they were talking about the post-PC technology is the way the company's moving. So we're kind of getting in ahead of the curve to provide this activity.
Dan, Dr. Smith, wasn't it true that people wouldn't think of that actually drone technology is seen as one of the fastest or most potential growing business sectors.
In fact, the Atlanta Business Chronicle said that drone technology will have a huge impact on the economy here in Georgia, and that came out this week. The other one is forensic cybersecurity, and this is a new program for us all the way around. Daytona State College in Florida received a National Science Foundation grant to create this program. And after they created it, they received a second grant to select 2- and 4-year partners in Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina to partner with them to expand this program. We were the 2-year college selected in the state of Georgia, and Middle Georgia State College in Macon was the 4-year college. And one of the nice things about this is the grant will provide us funding to create high school competition teams in cyber forensics. And so that will be being rolled out this fall. Personal robotics, using personal robotics, it's again coming out of the Emerging Technologies program. They'll be using emerging technologies to solve problems in business, medical, manufacturing, and government institutions. And they'll identify parts of a personal robot and use that to program it and everything. Video game design specialist is another one that we're creating as part of the emerging technologies. And again, this is instead of your PC-based technology, we will be using the mobile devices, which is an entirely different platform to create these programs. And so this one is another one that we'll be bringing online this fall at the Career Academy. Georgia's largest industry is agriculture, and we've never had a program in agriculture. And the Career Academy in Madison County is focusing on agriculture. So we've hired a professor from the University of Georgia, has left the university and joined us on July the 1st, and he's creating the programs we're going to have associate degree programs in horticulture, animal science, plant science, and those are the initials. Also, the College of Agriculture is working with us closely to create associate of science degrees where the students can complete an associate degree at us, transfer fully to the university as a rising junior in the area of ag mechanics or ag education, environmental communications, and one other area, and it just totally went out of my mind. But the ag mechanics program, we're actually teaching a course this fall on our campus, and the only students in it are agricultural education students from the university, because they don't have the skills or the equipment to teach it, and it's in the areas of small engine repair, welding, some of the things that they teach kids when they're in the high school in the ag mechanics courses. One of the things we're doing is we're creating an opportunity for those students to go into this route. Last year, there was 76 jobs available in the school districts across the state in ag education. University of Georgia graduated 26 people for those jobs, and Fort Valley graduated 1. So they're really trying to build the pipeline to really increase the number of graduates in those areas. And so this will be a great opportunity, because the students could start out at the school district in the Career Academy, come to us, finish their associate degree, and enter right into the university as a rising junior. Interior design technology, it's using 3D technology to design blueprints, and interior design, it's not only 3D, but CAD/CAM and all of that. So this is a new one that we'll be introducing this year as well. Healthcare access representative, every student wants healthcare opportunities. In our life science programs are very competitive. Every year we have 2,000 students trying to get into our healthcare programs. We take 200 a year into those, so it's very competitive. And one of the reasons those are so limited is because of the clinical sites that we have to send the students through all of those, plus the accreditation requirements. This is a non-clinic based program where they'll be able to go to work in doctor's offices, and some of it will be the front line where they'll come in and take patient information, but they'll also be able to move into medical records and medical coding, which is a really growing emphasis here in the state. In fact, Georgia Tech has received a National Science, our U.S. Department of Labor grant, and we're partnering with them to introduce some medical coding programs for students across our service area. Firefighter 1's another one that we're going to. This one, it'll be targeted to seniors because toward the end of the program, they do have to go into a burn building and practice their the skills that they're learning, but they have to be 18 years old to go into that burn building by state law. So this one we're working around, but we've got some interest with Clarke County Fire Department is co-sponsoring this with us. Additional things that we've got in development are environmental science, a food safety technician, and then a film program. And again, we're going to really make a concerted effort this fall. We're working with ANISA to develop marketing materials. We're going to be running radio ads, ads on cable TV, ads in theaters. We're also doing a direct mail piece that'll go to all the parents of the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students this year. And so that's one area. Also, we had a very successful event last March where we invited all the counselors from the school district to come to campus, and we gave them information on Athens Tech. And then we brought in 28 business partners, and we asked the business partners to, one, talk about what their company does here in Athens, Clarke County, starting salaries and the types of jobs they have available, and then the types of skills that kids need to be focusing on in the K-12 system from elementary school on up. And the counselors really loved that part of the activity, and we received feedback that they would like to extend that opportunity to the high school faculty who serve as teachers as advisors. So I've met with both Tony and Robbie, and we'll be doing this in February. We're bringing in all the high schools, some in the morning and some in the afternoon, and then we're meeting tomorrow with the Education Committee and Georgia Power to see if we can get some financial support to feed everybody on that day. Is there any questions?
Sarah?
I had a question about the firefighter program. When you graduate from that, can you
You will be certified as a firefighter 1, yes. It does prepare them to take the certification exam that you have to be to gain employment. And it will also, we've got firefighter 1, we'll be also moving in firefighter 2 that we can offer once the kids graduate. And then they both feed into our fire science technology program, which is more designed for people who are currently in the industry. If they're looking for promotion, they need to go and get some of these management courses out of the way, and so they'll be able to do that and then get promotion. So it all is kind of a step ladder up.
Mr. Huff?
So you were talking about credit hours, college credit hours,
Mm-hmm.
and so some of these courses we're talking about Athens Tech,
Mm-hmm.
but we're talking about AP at the same time. So I get
If
some
this,
of my question comes down to the credit hours that students can get towards Athens Tech,
Right.
the Career Academy.
Right.
They are, there goes, I mean, they're, you pass that class and you get credit hours that are recognized at Athens Tech.
Correct. They're dual enrollment students. They have to meet our admissions requirements to participate in these programs. And so when they take the course, if they take the course and pass it, they not only get college credit, but those credits also satisfy their high school graduation requirements.
Okay.
So let me see if I can dig a little deeper into David's thought. First of all, the agreements they have with Athens Tech, so the courses, the academic courses that we have in the pre-college program and others, I don't have the list in front of me. When students receive credit for those, that's good for any college or university in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go and get history and mathematics or algebra or English, and I receive my college credits from Athens Tech, that'll be good for Georgia State, Georgia Tech. Those are transferred. They get a college transcript. Colleges out of state, that's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an articulation agreement, but many would take them, but I can't speak for all the colleges. Some do APs, and that works for those students. With APs, you typically have to score at a certain level.
3.
It's a 3. Some universities out of state you'll find are requiring higher, 4 or even 5 if they, or if they take APs, and that depends on where you want to go. So it's kind of it's a win-win. It's just a matter of what you want to choose. I want to go deeper.
Yeah, that helps. I guess I was hearing about a student, not from Clarke County,
No.
but who's a student at the university and supposedly had calculus, AP classes, top of the class, all this kind of stuff at a different school district here in Georgia. But then they pre-tested this student in Georgia and said you need to take pre-calculus. So what I'm trying to figure out
Do you know what the
is there
AP score is for Georgia? Is it a 4?
Let me just posit this thought. Colleges and universities set up their own criterion in order to how they accept APs.
Okay.
I guess maybe there are some that would accept them outright. There might be some that could say accept them conditional upon some other assessment. I don't know, but each college and university sets up their own criteria. They're not automatic.
And most of the colleges in the state require a 3, that the student pass the AP course with a 3. But with the level 1 research institutions, it's usually 4 or higher.
Guess go for it.
And so the university,
But I think that's right.
and the university, I think if I remember correctly, is 4.
That's correct.
And that's on the
So,
scale from 1
so
to
if
5.
Probably knows.
but
Yeah.
these courses that are
4.
it's almost like you have more assurance of
Yes.
obtaining
If-
college credit if you
right.
go to
If you
career
If you go to the
academy.
Career Academy and receive the college credit, that is a college credit, it is a college transcript.
Okay.
That's correct.
They will also sometimes, if you don't score the 4, then you can take another type of pre-test or exam to potentially test that. So that
Okay.
could be a
Could be
situation where the pre-test was in place of having had a
Right.
4.
Okay, so, but if you don't do the 4, but if you do the 4, that's college credit that you would have. Whereas if you had a 3, it may or may not be.
Right.
Okay.
Even that actually varies, because sometimes at Georgia, I'll see a student's transcript that says K for college placement credit, but it has 0, so it means you've exempted the base level
Okay.
course, and you could go take Calc 2, but you still don't have credit in that area. It's a
It's an
complicated
exam.
Okay.
thing.
They'll accept X number of courses.
Yeah.
And I think too, the other part we add to that is cost. And Dr. Tavernier, I just gotta make sure I've got this correct there, but the board has been very generous, so we do pay for for AP testing, one for everyone. That used to be just one, but it used to be funded by the state. The state did not fund it anymore, but we put it in our budget, thanks to the board's generosity, that we pay for one AP test for every student that wants to take it, so that's that financial commitment. And on the other side, when you go to the Career Academy, we pay all expenses and credit to the college university, so there's no expenses there if you go through the Career Academy.
Now, with the AP courses, I know when I was principal, if they made 3 or higher, up to 5, they also get an addition of 10 points on their GPA. Is that still in place?
Mark, that would be correct. So,
Okay.
and there was some rule changes just last year that there's also added points for college dual enrollment, which was not the case before, so.
They treat the general ed, the Excel
general
courses,
Excel courses.
as the same way as,
Not the
there's
technical,
a,
the Excel courses, which is the mathematics, English.
as they give a multiplier, and they equate it with the AP.
APs,
It's the
correct.
same multiplier.
Okay, Ms. Thornton?
My question is not as technical as David's question, but this presentation was just awesome. Just
Thank you.
Totally awesome, off the chain. And what I always struggle with is how do we get this word out
That's right.
into the communities? They're not coming to our board meetings, and this is the kind of stuff that folk need to hear, that the district, and they don't always read the paper, Lee. So, but we really need to take this on a dog and pony show to where the people are that are reaching the kids. We have Reverend Mosley here, we got Tawana here, but this kind of information is only going to hit a certain group of kids if we are not very proactive early on.
And in line with that, to take this on the road, the Dongan Pony, we are developing 2-minute infomercials on each of the programs. So instead of just flashing that up, we can have infomercials on each of the programs. We'll be creating those and putting those on the Career Academy website. And both principals have said that if we could get this information to them, they would make sure all of the teachers as advisors and the counselors would have access to it as well. And we're more than glad to go out and present this wherever and whenever.
And let me say this, just yesterday and also today, and I caught a glimpse of it, and I can't talk extensively on it, but anyway, that was an ad, and I saw Katie Arrowwood as a part of that ad, and I know it's going to play again, but that's something that you probably need to pay attention to, because it really, really, the last part that I caught, it was talking and saying some good things about Career Academy, not only in Clarke County, what they're doing across the state for kids.
Can I just add
Katie Arrowwood is in that ad.
just a comment, and this is to Dr. Tidings, Dr. Smith, and Athens Tech. Just an incredible partnership. If you look at this incredible transformation of what we're offering on the table, this is offering it for Clarke County. This is not, let me take what's already there at Athens Tech and extend it to you. This is beginning with us saying, this is the future, but that tells you that I think a real indicator of the strength of our relationship, that a university, college, technical college has gone to the extent of researching, planning, developing, using all of their resources for a program for Clarke County students as an initiative. I mean, that is, in and of itself, just amazing work. So, so to Dan and to Dr. Tidings and your team, it's just been incredible.
Thanks.
And it's so exciting. It's so different. It's so different.
Ms. Payne?
No, lady first.
Well, my question,
Oh, I didn't see her. I'm sorry.
I'm a numbers person, so I simply want to know what percentage of the, I guess, career paths, this represents what percentage of career paths that we have in our regular high school curriculum? You know, like we have career paths that follow the kids that have to make a choice, like somewhere around the 9th grade, is that right?
This won't
So do we
develop,
have-
this won't hit the fine arts pathways and some of those, but we have tried to tie them in, like the personal safe, the emerging technologies. You could put it in computer science pathways, you could put it in criminal justice pathways. So when we've worked with the school district in developing this, we've made sure that we've linked something to the pathways.
I think
All right, then
there are
another better-
clusters.
Okay, good. So give me a count. How many career paths are we presenting here through the dual enrollment? Is that a better question? I just need to get it very
I just
succinct.
gotta count them. I just,
I'm going to rely on,
I can tell, I don't know, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
what percentage that is.
Now, I think they would all be
Well,
each of
what's
these
the
would
count? Is it
represent a
16
career.
different things that we're doing now, new,
I think
or is
so.
it 18, or
There are 18 career pathways. in the
18
state.
career pathways in this, at the Career Academy,
Let
right?
me-
Just state.
Let me see if I can get, Linda, kind of your question. I may just simply have to count.
Well, you might have to just clear my fog, but get.
There are 16 clusters,
Okay,
right? And so there are career clusters as part of the requirements for our students to sign up. And within those clusters, there's multiple pathways. I have to just go back and count them, because I don't
Okay.
have that number
Yeah.
off the top of my head. Because we only offered pathways that we thought were viable. There are academic pathways, then there are some technical field pathways. I just don't have a number. I think these are all very new and they're exciting. So what we simply do is, they're really exciting, we'll make them work. So we will cross-reference, as he said, into those clusters. Because I think when you look at the clusters, people have different opinions to it, the clusters are really creating jobs that are now. Well, if 25% of the jobs don't exist now, they're gonna exist in 4 years, then what we're saying is, we'll push the envelope, do you know what I mean? And we'll get these approved as pathways as part of that. But I don't have an exact number of how many you just
I'm just
mentioned
looking for
tonight,
that
because there was some overlap.
and it's okay if we don't have it, it's something for us, I would think, to look at, because they're having to make a decision in the 9th grade. And then we have to go on this, we make a decision in the 10th grade, and which pathway we're gonna take, right? And so we don't want them to lose a year, or, take something
Right.
that's not supported.
And And I want you to let the pathways even are flexible. Do you know what I mean? That people, I'm just gonna tell you, people can move, it's,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we're
And-
not
and
gonna
they
lock
need
you
to
in.
because they don't always
They
happen.
don't always happen. But all we know is we have some goals through those pathways, that by the time I hit a junior year, I can still complete any of the pathways set forth by Athens Town.
And that again is why I think it's important that we get this early so people know what the options are. Most of the time when we come up with something that we think is great, like I said, it's only a few folk that get the information. We really got to be, if we really think this is good and not confusing, we need to be able to articulate that and motivate folk at the front end, at the beginning, not down the road when people are trying to catch up.
I think the last year and a half maybe, we've really been focusing on what we're doing at the Career Academy. We've made some significant changes, really made some efforts to get out in front of this so that we can get the messages out. We've not done a good job as an institution promoting this to the different folks, and that's why we're really investing some time and money to get this out into the people. And I think we really have developed good working relationships with the high schools, and so they're feeding us a lot of information, and we're able to go back. All of this information was presented yesterday to the instructional high school, and I understand that they were real receptive of everything we're working on. But I do agree with you, one of the weaknesses of the past 2 years, 3 years maybe, is not getting enough information out, and that's what we're really focusing on. I think Anissa had a meeting today on all of this.
And I think too is I think we're just trying to be out in front of what interest kids have, because these are what's the future. Some of the others have been around for a long time, and so they had different perceptions. These are all new, but I would say out there, if you're listening to this program, this is as much about parents or guardians.
That's right.
Or advocates. That's the difference. When we talk everything about recruiting, we can talk to kids, but it really is the adults that can turn to them and say, this is a good thing, and it's going to give you flexibility. And it gives you an incredible opportunity that probably no one else in the state has, to be able to start your college career at age 16 and have it paid for. I mean, so that's really where it starts. And so that's why I throw out that if you're listening, parents, adults, this is where it's at. We have too many kids that are leaving our high schools that really don't have a direction of where they need to be.
Okay, Ms. Payne?
I just want to thank you. You said that you had the counselors over there. Two things that I've always been really concerned about is reading and counseling. Counselors are worth their weight in gold. Good counselors. And some of the counselors that I have met and listened to over the years is the fact that some of them are on duty 24/7.
They are.
24/7 they are on duty. And they can learn more about a student sometimes than the parent, than another teacher, than anyone else. So I was just elated when I heard you say that you had the counselors over there and you was getting them instructed. And the other thing that we need to spend enough time making sure that these people understand what their duties are, and they get them over to the students so that they can have a choice early on and make the right decision and go in the right direction.
And that's why we wanted to make sure that we invited all counselors from the school district, not just the high school. We had the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high school at that event, because they start in elementary school, start discussing about careers. And it was funny, one of the elementary schools was about to have their career fair or something coming up, and they'd heard that we had the 28 businesses, and they already had sign-up sheets for them to, and they had a great turnout for that as well.
And thanks again to the board. In our budget last year, we added a counselor at each high school that had specific responsibilities of coordination at the Career Academy. So they spent 2 days, I think it's 2 days each a week, all at the Career Academy to ensure that our kids who are going there are supported. And so that was another big move we made last year, which was the model. We added that counselor.
And this last thing, and this has nothing to do with you, I just want to get rid of some of our legislators and governors because they don't appropriate enough counselors in the elementary school or in the high school. and that won't never happen until we get the right people that under the gold dome.
Okay, now mine was really simple. I was gonna simply put the question out there, what is our ratio of students to counselors? Because we really don't have enough.
No, we don't have enough.
We just don't have enough.
No.
It's very, in the state of Georgia, it's very high.
Very high. And so parents have to be more proactive. They have to engage, and we have to understand when our kids are making those decisions, what those decisions lead us to. So-
Very important.
But we have made progress on that, because I can recall when I first started in this district, you had 2 counselors at both high schools. Now you actually have 5, and you have a counselor per grade level. And that
One
is.
to 500, that's,
But still.
It wasn't enough then, and it's not enough now. That's what Linda said.
And in fairness, and again, we do have an advisor program. It's gotten more structured in the last 2 or 3 years. Is it perfect? Not necessarily, but there's certainly adults that are connecting specifically with kids over their time. But every support our kids can get, we need to give them. The community.
One thing with the counselors, I had a long conversation with Dr. Price at Cedar Shoals on Monday about this, and one of the things he wants to do is start having a meeting each semester between the high school counselors and my staff and the principals, so that we can look at issues and really make sure that we're covering everything. And it's going to be like an inner working relationship, so that we can share information and figure out what's good or not.
Yes, that's good.
I'd like to see something consumable for our community partners too, the Boys and Girls Club, and those people that really get their hands on our kids and get to know our kids more intimately sometimes than even our teachers do. They need to be able to present this information or these options to the kids as they are working with them as well.
Great suggestions. Okay.
Okay, any further questions?
Great job, Dr. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Athens Tech. That really is it. I just want to let you know, we're going to finish up our meeting, but I'm real pleased. Actually, I'm leaving the board meeting tonight, and we'll go to Macon. Tomorrow, I will be doing a training session all day from 8 to 5 on building future leaders for the Superintendent's Association. So it will be, I think we have a pretty robust, we put together a pretty robust program for them that I think looks at the role of the superintendency very differently in terms of those responsibilities. So that'll start, think of me, I'll be in Macon now at this rate about 10 or 11, but up bright early tomorrow 8 with 25 future superintendents. That ends my report, President Wynn.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanu. Mr. Payne, GSB A report.
Dr. Lanu, I'm not going to be long. I'm going to make my bed, y'all.
Just get out of here.
I have some good information. The Risk Management Fund had a great year this year, and it was due to the fact that accidents were down, and because of our diligent workers working with the districts and those individuals. Now, many of the districts, they have hired a safety person, and where there is a safety person in a district, the accident rate goes down. It's down tremendously. And as a result of accidents being down this year, and because of our workers being so diligent, working with our people in trying to prevent accidents, we were able to, whenever the audit did the audit on the risk management fund, they didn't find anything that was out of order. They gave us a very good report, and we took that report to Lords of London. We have to do it every year. They won't accept a report sent. You have to take it and hand deliver it to Lords of London, and that's what.
Rough duty.
And they were very pleased. They were very pleased because of safety, we generated $4 million. So we have $17 million in reserve. So you belong to the organization with $17 million in reserve. So we can take care of any accidents that happen in Clarke County. And that's my report. It's longer than that, but I'm not going to make it any longer.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
Got to make it a half hour early. No,
yeah, policies are Dr. Lanu.
Those policies as stated, those will go for public review for 4 weeks. Any questions? Okay. All right.
All right. Action items, item G.
Well, first will be minutes.
All right, I'll see the
Minutes of previous meetings. Recommend approval of minutes.
see policy, I don't see the
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. The minutes, so we had 3 meetings there, and you've included them on your iPad
Yeah.
packet there, so I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Payne, do we have a second? Second by Ms. Thornton. Have any questions pertaining to these minutes? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Now we move down to.
Financial reports, recommend approval of financial reports for June, July, and August of 2014.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on the financial report. I need a motion on that. Moved by Dr. Spain, we got a second on that. Second by Ms. Davis, okay. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Reports, rather. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Okay, the next is policies, and we discussed the evaluation of the superintendent policy. Thanks, Mike, working on some language. Didn't hear any changes to include that date, but there might be. I'm wondering, let's first recommend to suspend the rules for policy CEI, and then we go to recommend approval of the policy. So first recommend to suspend the rules in adopting policy CEI.
Okay, moved by Ms. Williams, got a second from Ms. Thornton. We discussed this last week, okay, to suspend the rule on policy CEI. We don't have any questions on that, all in favor of suspending the rule? Okay.
Barring maybe not Robert's rules, but rather than make a recommendation, maybe if there are any comments or suggestions on that piece, maybe it'd be best to do it now, and then we could go for a recommendation.
Do we have comments?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I noticed the 3 on the year-end evaluation, 3C, there's a misspelling or something there. New contract in innovation. I'm not sure what that.
Mike, you
said
got
that.
Novation's a legal term when you substitute one.
Okay, all right.
I asked that too.
I have to look it up too,
I just gave way, it had to be a legal term. It's not one you use regularly.
I was like,
All right.
Mike's
I agree,
been
though,
cute
David.
here, legal
Okay,
speech.
all right. Then, I just thought, being Clarke County, that there's, we refer to his contract, right? Work shall become a part of the personnel and shall be, if he chooses so,
He
we
or
just
she.
say that twice, it just might be appropriate to change that. Then, so there was just one other.
He or she, just make sure it's gender.
Right, that's the.
It says
next
it
to
twice
last
in there.
sentence.
You see that?
The other one, Atlanta, just.
Do you know where we're at, Mike?
I see one of them, I don't see two.
One's in A3, or it's the mid-year evaluation 3B.
Oh.
And then again in 3C on the year-end evaluation.
Got it.
You see it?
I do.
Okay.
Everyone understand, just so we know.
There's just one other place where I thought there needed to be a V in there. Can't see that one. Something about the districts. Meeting the school districts, let's see, based on the success of meeting school districts, meeting the school districts, that would be year-end evaluation, number 1, subject matter, meeting the school districts, strategic plans, performance goals. That's it. And other than that,
So those are a couple, we'll go back and clean up the preposition and
Got it.
and a gender. We can do that automatically for sure.
okay.
Given that, then those are, to me, at least those are a couple grammatical things that we can clean up. But barring that, I guess I would recommend that we now approve policy CEI for the superintendent evaluation, understanding that when we approve this, the regulation on the old policy goes away. Didn't know quite how to handle it because the board doesn't rescind it. So we wanted to make a note that that regulation obviously is null and void. So, recommend approval of policy CEI.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent, policy CEI, they're going to clean up some items in there. Need a motion on that? Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second from Mr. Huff. Any further questions about policy CEI? Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much, motion passed.
Just note that means you'll be hearing now a report on the progress in November, just on the strategic plan. Okay, all right.
Consent agenda.
Recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda, recommendation on that. Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second on that, second by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, item 10.
10 is recommend approval of the board training plan. We think it's right, but once you approve it, they've also said we have an opportunity to change it and flex dates, but I think we're pretty good, so I recommend approval of the board training plan.
Okay, recommendation on the board, training plan from the superintendent. We have a motion on that.
Yes.
Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second from Ms. Thornton.
No, yes.
Okay, any questions about the training plan?
Yeah, I called Amy about it, and she said that she was gonna send a new schedule out, because the one,
We moved that
We moved,
Thursday, we moved
yeah.
that, she took that off, she
Yeah.
took off the Thursday one in November.
right,
Okay,
That doesn't
So all
change.
the dates are in there, Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Yes.
thank you.
okay, any further questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Item 11.
And this is large, but we've been talking about it since summer. I'm real pleased with the work, and I'm real pleased with the work we did at our work session. You know, made some adjustments that I think really strengthen our strategic plan. You know, we always have the ability to make some changes in our strategic plan, but essentially, this would be our core plan for the next 5 years. That doesn't mean, however, if something, we need to do some drastic changes, we can enter a new one, but the goal is 3 to 5 years, definitely minimum of 3 years. So with that, I recommend approval of the strategic plan with the initiatives that we had outlined in the plan.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on the strategic plan. Okay, got a moved by Ms. Thornton, got a second from Mr. Huff. Any questions pertaining to item 11, strategic plan? All in favor? Motion passed. Okay, Dr. Lynn.
And personnel recommendations, recommend approval of personnel recommendations, the addenda. The job description is simply some responsibility changes. There was a retirement of 23 years, and we thought we had to update some of that, so it's not a new position. And also, there's a letter in there that allows a coach from Timothy Road, a teacher from Timothy Road to coach out of the district. By regulation, we have to have the board approve that. This will not interfere in any way with the responsibilities here, and the principal of the school in which that person teaches is absolutely fine. So that's included in the packet as well. So I recommend approval of all of those.
Okay, recommendation on personnel, and you have the addendum there. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second on that. Second by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed, okay? Okay, recommendation, let's see here. Adjourned. Going to make it. Got a second on that? Mr. Huff?